Whoa, Magnus doing some weird stuff, moving a piece twice in the opening with black, breaking all the rules here.
Yes, Norway chess is back, and world number one, Magnus Carlsen, opens up with the Noodle Gambit, playing his classical game against reigning world champion Ding Liren. Magnus spent 15 minutes on move 4. Why? Well, he was backstage chowing down on a Stavanger stir-fry apparently. Stavanger is where the tournament's being played. That game then proceeded like this, very, very boring. Half the audience fell asleep. We had like a 10-move draw. But all was not lost. We go to this Armageddon. That's the nice thing about this format. We still get some bloodshed chess. If Magnus draws, he takes the equivalent of a win. And if Ding wins, he takes the win. That bit's pretty obvious. He gets some extra time on the clock because of that handicap that he's got. We're diving into this game here and some weirdness from Magnus Carlsen. Because after Ding opens with the English in Norway, Magnus plays the Sicilian in reverse. By the way, please excuse my voice and my absence for the last 5 days. I've been away, few days in the sun, too much singing. We get this pawn on the board, the bishop about to fianchetto. Magnus goes knight f6, bishop g2, and now these are the standard moves. With black, you fight for the centre somehow. But Magnus goes pawn h6, breaking opening principles, tiny little pawn move, edge of the board, knight c3, bishop b4, e4, big clamp on the centre, preparing to then push for things like this or this in future, and after d6, knight g to e2, this is where Magnus breaks another opening rule. He moves the same piece twice. What is that all about? This is the reaction of David Howell.
Whoa, Magnus doing some weird stuff, moving a piece twice in the opening with black, breaking all the rules here.
Why is Magnus doing this? He's taking Ding into the deep dark woods, away from opening prep. So Ding's looking for f4. We get a5 from Magnus, clamping before that pawn break comes. Castle's played, knight c6, d3, and now it just gets weirder. Castle's the main move when you run it with the engine, but Magnus plays knight to h7, another opening principle flouted, and so Ding cracks on with king h2 preparing f4. Knight f8 from Magnus, his point revealed, f4 on the board, a pawn wall headed down the board, and knight e6 comes just in time. Knight d4 coming to a theatre near you soon, and after Ding closes the position with f5, Magnus's knight hits the centre, but his king still trapped over here. The pawn's marching. This is scary. Ding captures on d4, knight recaptures, and now he turns his attention to the queen side with rook to b1, preparing a3, b4, but after bishop d7, we don't see an immediate a3, or else a4 comes and you go to clamptown. So Ding goes b3, slow preparing, but Magnus strikes first with pawn b5. This knight doing a great job supporting, a monster in the centre. Ding goes queen g4, eyeing the pawn on g5. His position looks great, but Magnus has a great defensive move here. How does he find this stuff? King to f8, and yes, you can find it on a one move threat and responded to, but this whole opening concept, madness to me. Is it some deep prep? Now we get queen h5, Ding kind of shuffling. He now wants pawn f6, but Magnus shuts it down. Should Ding have done that sooner? Queen d1 back, Ding shuffling without a plan, and Magnus now turns on the heat with pawn b4. All his pawns committed to dark squares here. He unlocks a stir fry for one, special meal voucher, and now drops his bishop back after the knight attacked. That knight could have come here, but Ding looking to mix things up, imbalance the position. Is Magnus going to take? Well, first, after bishop f3, he decides to give up this monster, not forced, but it simplifies things. No time for Ding to bounce around and activate, and he opens up his own dark squared monster. First queen e8 sets up the battery. We get g4 from Ding, Both players now with their pawns on the opposite coloured squares. Everyone claps, the players do a respect, explode it, and now we get bishop d4. This one challenged. We see an exchange. These pawns completely locked up and really highlighted after pawn to c5. Magnus erecting a great wall of China here. How is Ding going to break it down? g5, the only break to play for. Now Magnus's king coming under fire, so what does he do? He evacuates the dance floor. A la Peter Lecco, there he goes, what a guy, look at the moves. Magnus doing the same with the black king here. Getting it out of dodge, all the way over to the queen side here, and in just a moment we see similar from Ding. Not a man to be outdone, he now decides it's time to take a wander with the king. He goes king g2 here, rook h7 from Magnus, and Ding just shuffling with the same piece. He's marching his way slowly over to that queen side. It's like an old person crossing the road. Slowly and surely he makes his way over. Magnus doing the shuffle truffle with his own king, and now with the pawn on a4 covered, Ding is free to move the queen into the attack. But he's just teasing. He doesn't yet push g5. A load more shuffling. The player's getting lower on the clock, but clock time's now even. Magnus has caught Ding up, even overtaken him. Finally, in just a moment, Ding pushes on with g5. It had to be played. We see a capture and a liquidation here. Everything getting hoovered off the board. Magnus now takes here, or Ding does rather, but Magnus, he gets the invasion. He's threatening mate in 1. So Ding shuffles back with the king, but Magnus is well and truly in behind. Possibly Ding could have considered a3 earlier, but this is how the game went. Queen to d8 here, and even though Ding is threatening to delete all the black pawns, so is Magnus. He starts checking, humming away to check out my melody. All the while checking this king, then dropping back, but he's just teasing. He carries on the checks. This is how the game goes, and it runs now to its logical conclusion. Neither player can land any kind of decisive blow. All Magnus needs is a draw. He checks away, and he gets the job done here. He takes a point and a half. Ding 1 point. The tournament's up and running. These are the final standings on screen from day 1. And if you want to see an incredible Magnus Carlsen game from the recent Superbet Rapid and Blitz, have a look at the video on screen. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers.